StarStock just put out a very interesting piece of content. They were talking about how many people have cashed out of their website in the past few weeks, as well as so they have something called the top 30 index, which essentially is pretty much what it sounds like. They are taking the top 30 players and then they're comparing them by percentages to the rest of kind of the market. And I mean, they've seen some pretty big increases since the beginning of this basketball season. And the information they put out, this was probably 3 or 4 days ago, they put out that $100,000 has been cashed out of StarStock since, just in the last week. So in the last week, $100,000 has been cashed out. So I don't know if that means that people aren't spending more money or where that money's going to go, but I think the fact that $100,000 is being transferred on the platform, I think is a really big deal. And if you have listened to the content, you probably heard me talk about StarStock and Check Out My Cards as two really good alternatives for selling and buying sports cards. And I actually have a guest coming on in the next episode. I believe it's either going to be the next episode or the episode after that. The winner of the StarStock contest, the international football contest, what they called it. And I'm having the winner, Ducky Sports Cards, coming on the podcast to discuss that. And so if you listen to one of the first episodes on YouTube, so that was probably 2 weeks ago at this point, I actually talked about how I didn't do well in the contest and some of the reasons why I didn't do well. And then they came out with the final standings, and I actually got third place. So that was pretty cool. But I'm going to be talking about that more on the podcast with Ducky rather than getting into it now, because there's tons of stuff that I want to get into. But this is the stuff that I want to talk about today, which I've been talking about, is the $100,000 that they talked about has been withdrawn from the platform, and then also just kind of the platform in general. And I think the one thing that you probably have heard me say on this podcast, I mean, they were a sponsor of the podcast when they were first opening up, like probably last summer. And one thing that I really like about the platform itself, and I mean, I was part of the, full disclosure here, I was part of the contest that they were in. They're not a sponsor right now, but the thing I really like about the platform is that they have essentially built a platform for just rookies. Because the thing that there's pros and cons, I think, of StarStock versus Check Out My Cards. And I think one of the things that Check Out My Cards has is their inventory is just endless. You can find second, third, fourth year cards of all these players, where StarStock, and then you can also find all these players of old players too, like players that aren't in the league anymore. So StarStock, at least for the beginning of what they've been doing, is they've only been accepting cards for submission that are going to be current players in the league. So, you're not going to find like any Ray Allen cards on there or any like Allen Iverson cards, but you'll probably be able to find like LeBron's or like Luka's and stuff like that. And I think what they've done is they've built the platform itself on a principle that I have tried to figure out myself, and it's making sports cards easier to understand. And, I get this question a ton on TikTok and then on Instagram sometimes, mostly on TikTok, because most of the people on Instagram that are on there probably understand cards, and TikTok is still a new platform, and there's tons of card accounts that are popping up every single day. But one of the questions I get on there is, how do you get started? And I always say you should go to eBay, you should type in the player's name, you should type in the card number, and then type in the player's name and their rookie year, and then filter through those specific cards first and learn that market. And then from there, you can kind of start building up your knowledge of the market in general, and you'll see which players and their cards. But the thing that StarStock has really done well, I think, is they're only doing rookie cards of players who are in the league now, which if you want to flip, I think that's kind of the right lane for you. And if you go on TikTok, you'll see everybody talking about StarStock. I mean, there's tons of accounts that are mainly just making content about StarStock, which is great because that helps the platform grow. Which, as a commentator, content creator in the sports card space, if the hobby's growing, that's good for me, because that means there's more of an audience that gets to enjoy this wonderful content. If you haven't liked or subscribed, I hope that you do so on this video. We are almost at 100. I'm not sure, depending on when this is going to be Wednesday's episode, I believe. So if you're listening to this on Wednesday, we may or may not have hit 100 subscribers. We're just under 100 when I'm recording. But the platform they're building is just going to be for rookie cards. Well, not even built, that they have built and they have been funded. Because I talked about this on a podcast probably at some point in December, how they raised $1.3 million with investors like Kevin Durant, and they invest in AJ Vaynerchuk and Matthew Dellavedova, who was also in the StarStock contest that I was in doing the football stuff. So I think it's very interesting. I'll be interested to see, which I'm not sure if we ever would know this, but I would be interested to know where that $100,000 is going. Like, obviously, I don't know. It's not going to be one or two collectors, obviously, because that would be insane. But I would be interested to see where that money is going to go, or if maybe they're putting it onto other cards that they can't get from StarStock. Like, I don't know. And it's the interesting thing to me is, like, for them, I'm not sure why they would be promoting that $100,000 was cashed out. I guess maybe, if I was them, I would try and maybe word it a little bit differently. Like, try and maybe, I don't know if they're able to pull full sales data off of their website. I'm sure they have it, but I don't think they would want it to be public. And that could even be the reason why they chose to say that this $100K was taken off of the platform. And because, like I said, I just don't know where is that money going? That's kind of my big question that I guess we'll never know from that specific information that they put out.